Welcome to our lesson 5 on radioactivity. Okay, now we are going to look at half-life. Half-life is the time taken by a radioactive substance to disintegrate to have its original value. Okay, now if the original activity has N0 as the number of nuclei present after half-life, what activity shall we have? We shall have a half of N0. So if we have, let's say the mass is 10 and the half-life is 2 seconds. So after 2 seconds, half will be decayed, half will remain. So from 10, half of 10 is 5. Okay? Example. The half-life of sodium-24 is 15 hours. If at time T0, okay, the mass is 640 grams. There was a mistake there. It should be time T0. Okay? The mass is 640 grams. How much of sodium is left, not left, is left in 5 days? So look, how much will remain in 5 days? Let us see step 1. What we are saying, 5 days. These 5 days we multiply by 24 hours to get the total number of hours. So we are saying after 120 hours, what will remain? If we started with 640 and half-life is 15 hours. So number of half-lives, if you want to get, we'll get the total number of hours we have. We divide by half-life. So one half-life is represented by 15 hours. So 120 divided by 15, we get 8. So what does it mean? After 15 minutes, 640. This is the original mass. 320 has gone, 320 has remained. That's why we have this. After another 15 hours, half of 320 will go, half will remain. After another 15 hours, half of 160, 80 will go, 80 will remain. You do that and so on up to 8 half-lives, which gives us the remainder to be 2.5 grams only. Okay? So we are talking of half-life is the time taken for the activity to remain to half, in short. Example 2. A radioactive element has a half-life of 3 minutes. If the initial count rate is 512 per minute, how long does it take to reach a count rate of 64? So we are told initially we have 512 counts. That is an activity. It has 512 signals in 1 minute. So we are told if half-life is 3 minutes, how long will it take for us to have just 64 grams or 64 counts per minute? So let us look at it step by step. First half-life of 3 minutes. Half of 512 will decay, half of it will remain. So often we are talking of 512 divided by 2, which gives us 256. So 256 gone, 256 remaining. Then we move on. 256. After another 3 minutes, 128 is gone, 128 is remaining. We take another half of 128, that is 64. So 64 will have vanished, only 64 will have remained. So if you look at that procedure, this is the first 3 minutes. It brings us here. The next 3 minutes, it brings us here. The next 3 minutes, it comes to the figure which is required, 64. So I write here, there are 3 half-lives that have moved us from 512 to 64. So these 3 half-lives is equal to 3. The first 3 is showing the number of half-lives. The next 3 happens to be the half-life itself. Half-life is 3, which gives us a total of 9 minutes. So what will have remained is just, we are operating with the factor half. So a half times a half times a half. Factor a half there times a half times a half. So only an eighth that has remained. Go and try 2 more questions on your own about half-life so that you can see if you followed this short clip. Thank you.